The horror with your hosts with the most about as always. Welcome back. So we are going to be talking about a documentary that is currently streaming on Amazon Prime, and that is The Eyes of the Mothman. This has been out since 2011, and I do remember seeing it. It must have been like right after it had been released. I first saw it initially on Netflix many years ago, like I said, when it kind of first came out. It's one of those documentaries that for a few years now I've been trying to think of, like, what the name is, and all this, and it's been trying to like search for it and everything to rewatch it. Finally, like I said, finally came across it on Amazon Prime, so thank you. This documentary, oh my goodness, one of my all-time favorite documentaries. I have to say, I definitely highly recommend this. But with that being said, I know I have read some comments about this documentary saying along the lines that it's kind of like, oh, it's just a small town, kind of trying to make conspiracy theories out of just like a lot of coincidences and trying to like hype up this history that they have and everything, and a few unfortunate, possibly unrelated, a lot of unrelated events just kind of unfortunately happening in this town. I could see that, but at the same time, I know one of my friends, Ariel, did kind of tell me like she's been to the place in West Virginia where all this happened, the town and everything. And I guess they're so kind of like dirt broke and everything, the whole town, that kind of any sort of way that they can maybe make some revenue and stuff. You know what? I'm all for it. I know my friend Ariel's all for it. Like, hey, whatever. But I mean, also too, with that being said, I know they have a few different, like I know they have like a Mothman festival in this town and everything. So, but anyway, enough about all that little stuff and everything. Let's talk about In the Eyes of Mothman. So, In the Eyes of Mothman, obviously it's a documentary. And it's about a town in West Virginia that a lot of history, a lot of rich history with this town and everything, including some really weird history. Now, I know that there is a few different sort of like Mothman type of documentaries, including like movies and books and stuff. This one, the thing that makes this one stand out, especially among the other documentaries, is just how much they do talk about not only Mothman, but all the other things that have gone on in this small little town. And it's a small little town. Like, I think a few of the people that were being interviewed kind of have said, like, yeah, like, we're a small town, we know everyone, we kind of know everyone's business just because it's such a small town. Word travel fast. So, this town, it starts off, talking about, like, way back in the day with, like, the Indians and everything that used to, kind of own their own ground and everything out there, their own land, along with, other, like, settlers that have come in, different sort of tensions and wars and stuff and everything, and, a lot of information about, Chief, I believe it was Chief Cornstalk, who very, very infamous, I shouldn't say quite infamous, but very famous Indian chief, especially in that area, sort of his sort of life, a little bit of history and everything, and sort of after he had died or had been killed, a lot of people kind of started speculating, oh my god, there's going to be a curse of Cornstalk, and so, this sort of what now has become a sort of tall tale, kind of anytime something bad happens, and I guess, it kind of makes sense, especially with a smaller town, anything sort of bad that happens, any sort of like tragedy or anything, it's kind of like, oh, I wonder if that's the, Chief Cornstalk curse and everything or whatnot. I mean, it's whatever, it's part of the area out there, so yeah, I mean, go for it. So it talks about that. Then it talks about the different sort of like TNT sites and everything, because I guess there's a few factories out there that dealt with like TNT, or at least TNT chemicals and different bomb chemicals, with these different sort of like igloo bunkers that were supposed to be like sealed tight and everything, but of course after years and years of sort of wear and tear from the elements and everything, in the like 1980s they finally kind of tested the waters that, you know, of the rivers and everything, and they found out that, like, oh my god, they're leaking, like, you know, so things like that, and then including, you know, it goes into obviously like the Mothman legend and everything, and then even like UFO sightings that were kind of going on around the same time, followed by sort of like these men in black that had supposedly come in, or you know, did come in questioning people about different things, about UFOs mainly, a little bit about Mothman and everything, and then it finishes off with the Silver Bridge collapse and everything, the huge tragedy that still, from what I understand, is still, because it happened back in like the late 60s, mid to late 60s, but still very kind of upfront in a lot of people's minds that still live there and everything. So it just, you know, a really great documentary that, you know, yeah, it's supposed to be about mainly Mothman, but I give this one credit, like I said it towards the beginning of this video, that it does kind of include all of the history of this town, kind of connecting them all and seeing how, you know, how they all could kind of intertwine all their like legends and folklore and everything. So I mean, for me, that's pretty interesting. Like just a pass like that to any town. I mean, even if you kind of look at something like say Salem, Massachusetts, and everything with like Salem witch trials, things like that, where you know there's so much more about one specific thing, because there is a whole town, there's this whole sort of history that kind of intertwines, and I that's what I kind of really find interesting and fascinating about this documentary. That's why I love it so much. And it's a lengthier documentary. It's like 2.5 hours, so they do not like skim over any of this stuff. It's not like, okay, well, Chief's Cornstalk, and then boom, okay, these TNT igloos that are here, and then Mothman for 45 minutes, and then, you know, the Men in Black, UFOs, and the bridge for like the last 10 minutes. No, it does go pretty in depth with a lot of the history and everything of this town. Worth checking out, you guys. I mean, I'm sure quite a few of you have already seen this documentary, but I don't really hear a lot of people talking about it. Maybe more people are talking about it than I realize, but it deserves some discussion and everything. Definitely check it out, you guys. For those of you who have already checked it out, let me know what you thought in the comments and everything. Do you feel that it is kind of like a little propaganda type of movie, just a town trying to make something more out of nothing and everything, or are you like me and find it pretty interesting? I want to know. I want to hear from you. Till next time, as always, you guys, stay creepy, classy, and a little bit sassy.